So I think, so this is going to be a rant, right? I think YouTube is weird. Now I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this for a little while. And let me say this on the front end. First of all, I appreciate YouTube in many ways. It's fun to do this. It's cool to, obviously, at the end of my videos, I talk to people. I go through we go to the tape, go through the comment section. I'll interact with people who, I can obviously, it's my decision to put up whatever comments I want to put up. But I'll put up whatever, whether you agree or disagree and all that stuff. So I like YouTube. I appreciate it on many levels. But I got to be honest, man. YouTube is weird. YouTube is weird. First things first, welcome to CNN. I'm Kirk Kennedy, the underdog. Let's go in. On this channel, we try to keep it biblical. We try to keep it lyrical. We try to share miracles. Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. We're on the road to 5K. We was at 3,500, 38. I think we got to 38. We did it, and then 2 people unfollowed me. So now we're back at 37. Let's get over 3,800 to get to 5K, man. We're trying to get there. All right. And for those of you that have been waiting for the occult video, that's coming tonight or tomorrow. I got something I got to do tonight, but it might fall through, and I'm going to do it tonight and tomorrow. But I want to have this conversation, man. I think YouTube is weird. And let me tell you where some of this comes from. I can't divulge the details of this conversation. But when I was in California on sabbatical, I was in San Diego for a couple of days, hanging out with my buddy. Shouts out to my homie Josh and his wife Jen and their beautiful kids. And then so on the way up, Ruslan, that's my dude. So I was like, look, I'm around the way. He was like, man, come through the, pull up. So I pull up. We go to his house, stream live. Some of y'all saw that. And then I hung out with him. His family go out to dinner afterwards. And we was talking. And at the time when we had this conversation, me and Ruslan, I was just like, yep. But as I think about it now, looking back, when you travel and you come back home, you start to look at your travel. You start to look at what you did and stuff starts to, because when you're in a situation, it doesn't really hit you until you're out of it, right? And you think like, wow, that was because a lot of times for many of us, when you're in something, you're just in it. You may have emotions towards it and all of that, but you're in it. You're in the situation. So when I was in the sabbatical, it started with as soon as I get there, my mother gets sick, right? And I don't know what's going to happen. She's in the ICU. I'm just like, what? Like my mother's in the ICU and we just got to, so like, you're working through all of that and I'm trying to figure things out and all of that, right? You have all these experiences. So when you're in it, you just like, yep, you're just living. It's not until you look back where you be like, you know what? So looking back, we had this conversation about YouTube, me and Jerusalem. And the conversation was really, he is obviously at a high level. He's been doing this for years. Shouts to Ruslan. Glad his strikes got taken down. He's been doing this at a high level. He was encouraging me on some things and stuff like that. But then we were talking about and he was talking about, he just mentioned, like, we were talking about just people's YouTube channels. And he, knowing people behind the scenes, was just, there's a discrepancy between like who people really are and who they are on YouTube. And some people don't even want to tackle topics because they're worried about how will people perceive him? How will they, there were people who will hit him and be like, bruh, and then he'll be like, man, why don't you talk about it? And now I'm going to talk about it. All right. And so I was just thinking about that because to me, I think about YouTube differently, right? And I mean, if you follow the channel, whether it's live or later, you understand like first of all, like I don't even, it's just weird that I even have people that subscribers. I think it's incredible because I'm nobody, there's nothing special about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like, I'm the Black Fabio right now. It's just like I'm a big black dude who just talks, right? Ain't nothing special. So I was thinking about myself and how I interact with YouTube. And when I hear, Ruslan talk, I realize like, I just approach it differently. So a lot of YouTube, a lot of your favorite content creators, right? There's like a production behind what they do. I mean, Ruslan, he's got a production. He's got a team, multiple cameras, press the button, switches camera views, all that. I mean, it's good stuff. And there's people more elaborate than that. Like there are people who have this whole setup, man, just to do YouTube. And it's not even just YouTube. Like YouTube has become a livelihood. Like you can have a career. He was telling me about a dude that's getting ready to step down from his real job and do YouTube full time. So like, it's a thing, you know, like now, you know, you got kids, you can be like, well, son, if you don't want to go to college, just be an influencer on YouTube. Like well, that would have been crazy years ago. Now it's a thing, right? But as I was listening to him, we were talking, I was like, wow, I was asking him questions. I realized like, man, YouTube is a weird place. It's just weird. And I realized that I think this way on a couple of levels. One, like, I'm not saying this like, oh, I'm the man or something, because I'm definitely not, for sure. But like, I'm the same dude online as I am on the internet. Like, I'm probably funnier, maybe sillier in person than I show on YouTube, because it's a monologue. I'm talking and it's just not but like I'm funnier and crazier sometimes on here. You know, I don't really show my photography. I mentioned that I rap, but I don't really play any music. So there are elements of me that you don't get, but I'm pretty much the same dude, right? I don't pretend when the cameras come on. You ask anybody that watches me on YouTube, that knows me in real life, like I'm the same person. Like I'll cry at something, I'll confess something. I live the life that I live when I'm not on camera. Like that's not a performance to me. And I realized that YouTube, which was really just, it's a social media platform, but it's weird in that it really does, like people who do YouTube, content creators that you watch and support, really look at it is like, it's almost like, for lack of a better description, YouTube for some people is almost like their big break in show business. It's like, this camera is like a real camera and I'm going live and now I need to, you know, me. I get, and then it's like lights, camera, action. And here we go, guys. Let me tell you about, you know, like if you ever watch newscasters, like you ever watch, especially female newscasters, no matter what country, whatever it is. If you watch female newscasters, like liberal, like legacy media, don't they all sound the same? They may have different voices, but their pontification, it's the same. It's like, and let's go to Andrea out there. Well, I'm here to tell you that there's raining cats and dogs, and they really want to know what's this. And so they said that there's like a certain cadence and it's like you gotta talk like this, but I bet you in real life they don't talk like that. They probably just real. So I realized, like in talking to Ruslan, and then from the stuff that I know a little bit, I was like, YouTube is weird because in many ways, I don't think people are themselves. Like I think it's like a bit. I'm acting. Let me show you. Let me be outraged because it'll get me. Let me pick titles. It's just a weird place. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if you're a believer, like I'm a Christian, right? I'm a pastor, believe it or not. Like one of the main things about, you know what was the coolest thing about Jesus that I feel like no one talks about? The coolest thing about Jesus, that from what I can see from the Bible, is that Jesus was the same dude wherever he was at. He was just a cool dude. Like you don't ever see them being like, well, look, here, your teacher was acting this way last night, but then he's like that. No, they would accuse him of stuff like this man has a demon. But he was the same dude. And now I think Paul was the same dude, but from conversion to non-conversion, he changed. But then there's a sense that this is who you are. And I feel like as a believer, part of the responsibility of being a Christian is to try to be the same person everywhere. Now, granted, I get that, there are times you'll switch things up. Like I was preaching at my buddy's church all of the month of July and the first 2 weeks of August, right? The makeup of his church is different than mine. My church is black, Latino, white, and a little bit of Asian. His church is predominantly Asian, predominantly white, right? So I spoke differently to some degree. I didn't change my diction. I wasn't like Carlton, like, hey guys, welcome to the Bible. Let's open up to John chapter. I wasn't talking like Carlton, but I understood that that I got to switch up some of my humor because this is a different audience. In that sense, yeah. But I was relatively the same dude, the same stuff. But I feel like YouTube is weird because it's making people, particularly Christian content creators, you're just not even your real self. That's why I bang with rules. I think it's same dude on or off camera, right? Same dude on or off camera. And has a wife that's not impressed. I think that's a good thing, right? You're just not impressed. But it was like, but I'm hearing these stories. I'm like, wow, people really do that? And it was kind of odd to me because, but here's why. But here's the real reason why. You ever watch, so I watch Indiana Fever games. This isn't the Caitlin Clark rant right here. But let me say this. You ever watch a sport game, right? And it's halftime or there's a timeout, right? And what they do is they'll flash to people in the crowd dancing. You notice that, right? People be dancing. And then when they realize they're on screen, they're like people get so excited to be on the Jumbotron for just a few seconds, right? And I was thinking like it's really because it happens to everyone. It's a rare occasion that when you're watching a sporting event and it flashes to people in the stands that they just sit there and be like, no. People be like, they be excited, be looking, trying to find where the camera is at. And I just thought, man, why do people get so like animated when they see themselves on that screen? And I think it's innate in us to want to be seen, to want to be heard, to want the attention. There's a level of like, on the bad side, there's a level of vanity. But on the other side of it, it might not even be good. There's just like we crave acceptance. Like, and that's part of being made in God's image. We're created for community. When I was in prison, when I was locked up, I went to isolation. We called it the hole. It was called D2. And whenever people would go to isolation for a long period of time, they would come out weird. They would come out like something's wrong with them a little bit. Like, Dad, what's wrong with him? And you know what happens is when you're by yourself, when you're alone, especially when you're not allowed to be around other people, when you're by yourself and you're in a place that's not good, you start to think about your life, and you want to be in a better situation. So you start thinking about times you were having fun. You think about your childhood. I think I told y'all this. When me and my kids, we would see homeless people or people strung out on drugs. I would say, boys, those people were 16, 15, and 13 like y'all one day. They had goals like y'all one day. They wanted new shoes for school and all that, just like y'all. Like, so I was trying to help my boys make the connection that like life decisions can matter. But when I was in isolation, when I was in a hole, I started thinking about like different times of my life that were just fun. And then you end up laughing at memories. And then you end up saying a phrase or two out loud by yourself. And next thing you know, you're having a full-on conversation over time with yourself because you create this almost a multiple personality because you're the shock of being alone. We're not created to be alone. It wasn't just God telling Adam, it's not good for the man to be alone. It was, we're created for a community. Jesus sent out his disciples by what? By twos. He was the only one that went off by himself. It was like by twos. That's why it says where 2 or 3 are gathered. It doesn't mean that if you ain't got 2 people with you, Jesus ain't hearing that prayer. But God is about community. The Trinity, as far as we know, has always existed, right? God created cosmic beings for community, created human beings for community, and we share that. And one day, the cosmic beings and human beings will live in perfect harmony together with God. Like, we're created for community. This is why being lonely, people will unalive themselves, because if you feel alone in a crowded room, it's the worst thing. It's the terrible, because you're in a crowded room, but you feel alone. Or if you're in a marriage, you don't feel, you ever live with people and feel like you haven't seen them, right? You can feel that, right? So when I'm watching these people in the Jumbotron flipping out, it brought me back to remembering like we want community. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. We want these things. And those people, when they're on the Jumbotron, they're not like this all the time, but there's something about when the camera comes on, there's a degree in which you feel like, okay, there's a possibility of community. This is why when people get negative comments in their videos, or like celebrities, they'll be really hurt and offended. I just saw the other day this girl, Bobby Altoff, who got really popular by doing a interview with Drake, but she was like, has this stick where like she's a really awkward girl. And and so all her videos were like this awkward. And it was funny the first 2 or 3 videos, but then it got kind of, but she just did a video going after people for making fun of the fact that she has lip filler and how much it hurt her. And it was like, it just was like, YouTube is this weird place. And it's weird because like we want it to be community. And on some levels we can feel that way. I feel like the people who follow me consistently, I feel connected to. I can say their names and like they're usually there. They usually give me a super chat. But the reality is like YouTube is weird in that this isn't real though. The only thing that's real about YouTube is that I really am who I am when I'm here. What I say on this channel, I'm accountable to God for that. I'm accountable to there's a reality to that, right? But there's a place where like, this isn't, if you're not who you are on camera, then YouTube is and it creates that. It's weird because, you know, if I'm a slave to subscribers and this and that, then it's like, oh no, I gotta perform in order. And most of us aren't good actors, but YouTube has a lot of people that are just craving attention, craving community. And it's not just YouTube, but I'm doing this because it's the main platform that I use. So it's like this weird place. And it's weird on that level where I just was like, wow, I was surprised to hear how many people are not genuinely themselves when they're on YouTube. I don't even know what that's like because I would not do this if I had to pretend like I'm someone else. That's why I'm surprised I have subscribers and stuff because I'm not real. I ain't no production with me. I pick a topic. I may have some stuff ready to show you. I press going live. I go live. I don't do no taped stuff and then put it on YouTube. If I mess up here, I just mess up. But this is just what I do. I just go live and it's on and popping. Rules on one time was like, bro, you're an animal. He was like, how long does it take you to do your videos? I was like, what do you mean? He said, how long does it take you to put together a treatment? I was like, I don't. He said, and then he told me how long it took him. I said, I wouldn't do YouTube if I had to do that. I just have a thought. I press going live and let's go, baby. Let's talk. Let's get it. And I realized like how much of YouTube is really, for Christian content creators in particular, is shaping people to be like, fam, are you? Like, are you you? Like, is this who you are? Because I think that's the goal. I mean, yeah, Paul said, to win the weak, I became the weak. But Paul was saying that he could relate to people. He wasn't, I don't think, completely changing his character or his values. So in one sense, YouTube is just a weird place because like, it's clear that we want to be seen, heard, we want community, we want this, but we do it sometimes as a false pretense. I should not, there's no topic that I'm afraid to cover. There's just topics that I just don't really care to do the research to talk about them. But there should be no topic I'm afraid to cover, especially as a believer. Here's where YouTube is also weird on the other side, and I alluded to this just a minute ago. Like, I think because people have a desire, we have a desire to be seen. We're the jumbotron, like, oh my gosh, look. I think we forget that who you are on YouTube, whether you're faking or telling the truth, everything you say, every mean-spirited thing you say, every tweet, whatever, you are what you post, right? And I think YouTube is weird because there are people who will wow out when this camera's on, wow out when this microphone's on, but and think that there's no consequences. But that's just not true. Like, if nothing else, so let me give you, I was watching this video earlier today. It was about these guys doing a review of a video that was criticizing Dr. Michael Heiser. And there were 4 people who, if you don't know who Dr. Michael Heiser is, he wrote a book called The Unseen Realm, is probably single-handedly the most responsible for, within American context, for bringing to light sort of a supernatural element of the Bible, talking about the Nephilim and about the divine council and stuff like that. I did a whole series in my church that wasn't taking his material, but I was inspired by what he wrote. And I went in a direction that was applying what he wrote. I would never take someone's material and then reteach it to my church. And I can't do that. It has to be, I got to see it for myself. I might quote you and say this person said this, but I will never take someone. I just can't do that. I just that's weird to me. That's weird to me, right? But these guys, these three guys were basically pushing back against a video of someone else did that was calling Michael Heiser a liar and all this other stuff. And it was really weird and the three guys who were critiquing the video were telling the people that they need to repent because they've slandered him. Michael Heiser is going to be with the Lord. And they said, but he still has a family. He has people who watch this. And they basically said he was lying and like a shuckster for real. And it was like, wow. And they kept saying, if you want to watch the video, here's a link. I was like, I don't want to watch that video. I respect what Michael Heiser said. I didn't agree with every single thing he said, but I respect what he said, a lot of it. And it helped me think through some things, and then the Lord used that for me. But I just thought like, wow, these people are on YouTube just saying crazy stuff, and they're believers. And it's almost like, and I don't know what they're thinking, I'm sure, but it was almost like we think that whoever we are on camera, that there's nothing to, that's all it is. Like, this is what I do on YouTube. This is what, like, we're not actors in the sense that like, okay, right, camera, boom. Like, I still think, like, this is kind of going off topic real quick, but this is really weird to me. One reason why I don't think I could ever be married to an actress, I could not be married to a woman watching her do a love scene, and even though it's not real and there's 50 people in the room, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do that. I'd be like, nah, I'm sorry. That scene, they have to get a stunt double for that scene. Like, we'd have to get hair, makeup, we'd have to go in there. It'd have to be a stunt double, like there's no way you doing that scene. I don't even want them stroking your hair. Like, we ain't going like that. Like, that's, and I wonder sometimes, how is God going to take that? Like, this is a scene, this woman's married in real life, but she's living, that's a whole different conversation. But it's just acting, right? There's this sense of like, there's this acting. But I think part of YouTube is like the other actors are you all. You're the other actors because you're the studio audience. You participate, you comment. And sometimes, man, this is where another reason why YouTube is weird. It's like, do you guys, and most of you are sensible enough to realize this, right? But I think sometimes even you all forget what YouTube is. Like, I don't care how many subscribers a person has, right? Or what you like or don't like. It's YouTube. It's a video camera. For most people, some people do a full-on production and all that. But for most of us, it's a camera, some lights, and what we think. And some of you will react with such vitriol or just feel the need. And again, you have every right to respond how you want. It's a public platform. We do what we do. You can accuse us of doing this and that. But it's so funny to me to be like, man, do you realize that you don't have to agree with my opinion? Like, I don't have to agree with yours. Like, I say this all the time. I'm old enough to remember when you could agree to disagree. But you'll see people act like, bro, you're so wrong, and what are you? And it's like, fam, first of all, chill out. I just said I think Caitlin Clark fill in the blank. Like, some of you treat us who do content creators as if like it's more than what it is. Like, it's such a weird place. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful. There are people that I hope I get to meet this side of the world. There's a group of people. There's about 12 people that consistently comment, send me super chats. And I just hope one day I get to meet them. I think they're just good people, man. I think that would be dope. I'd love that. Whether they come to my church one day or somehow we connect this side of glory. But like, there's a lot of it too that's just like, fam, like, are you serious right now? Like, I know people who, well, I'm a Christian or not, and you're like the rudest person in the comment section. Like, you are what you tweet. Like, I'm accountable for what I say, how I say it on this camera. And I'm influencing people potentially, and so I have to be careful what I say. Because I'm going to stand before God and give an account. And I think YouTube is weird because I think some people think from content creator to comment creator, right? You all are the comment creators. We're the content creators. I coined that. Remember where you heard that first. Dun, 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 dun. Comment creators. That's you all. I coined that. Remember that, right? No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. I coined it. All right. So as a comment creator, like, what you say is who you are. Like, you can't be rude in the comment section and not, and disconnect that from just That was sinful response. What fruit of the spirit was that, fam? Like, it's weird to me because when we're in person before I'm old enough to be alive to remember, like, just having conversations with people. You could be passionate about a conversation, but we knew at the very least it was just your opinion, right? We knew that, like, oh man, get out of here, man. No way Jordan's ain't better than, you'd have those conversations and it was cool. It was whatever it was. But for some reason, like, people act like because I said this and made a video on YouTube, that, like, it's more than just my opinion, my camera on YouTube. Like, you don't have to agree. But what you do have to do is not be offended. If you're not a believer. If you're a believer, if you're a believer. If you're not a believer, then even though you're supposed to obey God, you don't have the faith to obey God. So I totally get it if you're not a Christian. But if you're a believer, like, what are you doing, fam? Like, why are you so offended when you get offended? Like, say you disagree with everything I said, whether it's about Trump or Kamala or Caitlin Clark or whatever. Like, listen, I've been shot at point blank range a couple of times, and I ain't never been shot. I can handle the meanest comment sections. Whenever I do YouTube, someone's always like, yeah, that fat dude needs it. It's always that, right? I always get these comments, right? What do oh my, please don't joke about my weight. I'm metabolically challenged, and I'm not going to get up there and do that. You're crazy, right? It's like, man, okay, great, thank you. You're entitled to your opinion. But the reality, it's like you're as a comment creator, like, you're accountable. Like, the Lord is not good. Well, that was YouTube. I'm not. Let's look at what are you talking about? I just think stop taking content creators so seriously. Like, agree, encourage if you want, disagree. That's fine. But, like, fam, like, chill out, bro. Like, it's really not that serious. I'm talking about if you're a believer. Like, it's not that serious, man. It's just, this is our opinion. We get, I don't get paid except for super chats or YouTube. I don't get, like, I don't work for legacy media. This is so YouTube is a weird place because I think people in general just don't realize, hey, how I carry myself on YouTube before God counts. It's not like, oh, that was just on the YouTube comment section. You made a YouTube video gossiping and slandering about people, but that was just YouTube. Let's look at your life, though. Like, and this is lastly what I mean by YouTube is weird, and this would be broader to social media. I think many people, and this is alluding to what I just said about comment creators, I think all of us struggle with the C word. Compartmentalization. To God, the G word, the J word, Jesus, your life is not compartmentalized. Jesus said everyone will give an account for every careless word that they spoke. He didn't say in real life, face to face against other people. He just meant open your mouth. Think it in your heart. Type it with your words. And it's almost like that's non-existent. Like, the reality is there. It's the same idol, different altar. It doesn't matter no matter what it is. Like, we have to remember this thing. You have to remember this thing if you're really gonna, and I know these types of videos aren't gonna be the most popular. I get it, it won't be. I might even lose more subscribers. And maybe if this was my livelihood, I'd be like, oh man, I try to make videos, I didn't say this, but honestly, I probably wouldn't because I'm the same person. But, like, there's a degree in which all of us, like, we compartmentalize our lives. We'll think, hey, I'm going to be loving to this. I'm going to be really rude on this. I'm going to make a video slandering this person. I'm going to do this, and I'm good. And it's like, that's not how it works. At least not in Revelation 20:11 through 15. That's just not how it works. And so I'm not perfect at it, obviously, but I try to be mindful of that when I make videos and when I respond to comments, especially in the comment section where it can just be wow. I just try to be mindful of it because I just think when I say YouTube's a weird place, that's euphemistic. I think YouTube, people are blind to the way that they sin on YouTube is what I'm really saying. And it's weird in the sense that we think it's not what it is. Like, the camera adds 10 pounds, but I'm still fat. Your comment, whether it was written or it's still sin, still rude if it's sinful, right? This is still true. But like, we can't compartmentalize, and I think we do this just in life in general. We compartmentalize, like we think of like our lives as like a clock, like 1 o'clock. This is my job. This is my when I'm at home, and this is when I'm at church, and this is when I'm with my friends, and this is my entertainment, and this is this, and it's like this clock, and it's like, and God is at number 7 because that's a perfect number, and then number 8 is when I'm running late, and then number 9 is when I'm feeling fine, and then number 10 is when I want to do it again, and then number 11, number 11 is think about heaven, and then, we just kind of go around this. And we think that, okay, God's over here and we're all here. But God, like I said this before, God is the 3 hands. It's funny that the clocks have a big hand, little hand, and a little smaller hand. And that's Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. The time, he wants to hit every aspect of our lives. And I just think we're so used to compartmentalizing that we think like the way whatever videos I make are separate from my faith. If I slander someone, it's not really slander because it was on YouTube, it was on my channel. Whatever comment I make, that's just me responding to someone's video. That's not how it works, fam. Like you can compartmentalize Christ if you want to, but he will not compartmentalize you when it comes to evaluating your life. He's not going to be like, all right, well, let's talk about the work. Let's talk about YouTube. Don't worry about YouTube. That was just social media. That wasn't really real. Let's talk about, it's like, man, how did you act when you did all these things? How did you act? Let me show you this. Let me show you that. So YouTube is a weird place. And I think social media in general, we just think we're not ourselves. Most of us say things that we wouldn't say to other people. We'll go in the comment section. Well, you know why we call it trolling? You know what trolling is, right? Trolling is when we think people are intentionally being rude or mean for fun, right? And there are people that do that. But like, John Wayne Gacy. John Wayne Gacy I did an album 2 years ago called Serial Killers Smiling Pictures. And the whole album was me exploring what is the fascination with violence in America as seen in the support and admiration of serial killers. And I was looking at guys like Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, John Wayne Gacy was this big dude. He was a family man, married with a few kids. They said this dude would tuck his kids in at night, sing them songs, and then go out, kidnap, and kill kids, man. Like, what are you talking about? Ted Bundy, I think it was like this handsome dude that he looked like Harry Hamlin. And girls used to be like, oh my gosh, he's so good looking. And he was handsome and smiling and charming. And he would kill you. I couldn't understand, serial killers smile in pictures, right? It's almost like they would compartmentalize. John Wayne Gacy was able to compartmentalize him being a family man and loving his children to then killing children his own children's age. I hope YouTube is probably going to hit me for this, but oh well, I'm the same person online as I am in person. So I just think listen, when he stood before God or stood before, you're the same dude. And it's a weird, don't let YouTube or social media be so weird that you think what you watch, how you watch it, what you're hearing, what you agree with, how you react is separate from who you are. It's all of it. All of it. Oh, you're all of it. Every post, whether it's mean-spirited or encouraging, you're all of it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in America is we so idolize actors and actresses and entertainers that we live our lives like entertainers. And we're not. God doesn't have all right, and cut. The director is watching, and we are in a movie starring ourselves. And then when the credits roll, that means the movie's over, and we'll see if we get the Oscar for believing and living for God or pretending like we did. I just think we got to be careful that we don't let the compartmentalization, the acting of social media, of being loving movies and stuff and almost living no, your life is not a movie. And if it is, God is the one, he's the cinematographer. And he's also the people who decide what awards you get for your best supporting role as a Christian or non-Christian. So that was just a rant. I just was thinking about how weird YouTube is. And it's really bigger than YouTube. It's social media. But I just thought, because when I thought about making, there's 2 other videos I want to make, and I was like, do I want to make that video right now? And I just thought, man, it's just a weird thing to even. So I'm grateful that I'm myself. I'm not saying it in an arrogant way, like, look, I've arrived. No. I'm flawed, but I'm not faking. That's for sure. So anyway, I'm going to go to the tape real quick and then get out of here. Kurt back at it. We appreciate you, bro. How's the family? Family's good, famo. My sons are probably waiting to go to dinner. That's it. Yeah, bro. YouTube for some is like being actors. That's how Soulja Boy got 100%. Soulja Boy, it was just acting, and then people just, and I get it, man, because you want people to like and subscribe. You want people to support you. You want, it's just weird to me. This is where I appreciate being from a different generation. I'm not from this generation where my primary identity is like what people think of me and if people like me. People be like, this, I don't know if this is funny or just insane. People will be like, hey, such and such aren't friends anymore because they unfollowed each other on Instagram. This is what, that's how crazy it is. You will evaluate people based on if they follow or unfollow people on Instagram anymore. I remember people saying, listen, we're dating, but don't put it on Facebook yet. I don't want to announce that we're in a relationship. It's just, it's a weird time to me. Yes, they all do sound the same. The women, don't they though? They like this. Well, thank you. And it looks like they're going to be over there picking this thing up because we got to sound the same because the legacy media people want us to sound exactly the way all of the other newscasters do so that we don't lose any of our supporters and we make sure that we have everything they need for life. And God, it's just like, good gosh. It's just funny to me, bro. I just can't believe it. Bro, people not even themselves in real life. No, that's true. I agree with that. But I think YouTube brings it out even more. Not the Carlton voice. Nah, we ain't doing that, baby. That's not me. But that's why we watch you in the land of fake. Something real is refreshing. Man, I appreciate that. I don't get the notoriety that people get, but at least I'm myself, man. And that's one thing I appreciate that. I bang with the fact that you all bang with that. But even if you didn't though, here's the wild part, Xander G. Even if you didn't, I would still do this. I would still do it. So that's what the funny part. People will always feel an empty part in them without allowing the Holy Spirit dwelling in them, so they seek artificial filler for that hole. Yeah, well said. Well said. Sadly, I'd rather have people try to do it on YouTube than do it with drugs or something else or bad relationships. But I just think, but that's good. That's good comment creation. You are a comment creator. Remember where you heard it first, baby. I was watching some of that video earlier too, the Dr. Yeah, man, that's crazy, bro. And I think what was wild is, man, you wait until Dr. Heiser died. Talk to me. Talk to me. Jodeci would it come and talk to me? I really want. Tell me something. You gonna wait till this man died and do it? But I don't know their motives. I don't know. It's just weird to me. 100 heard it here first. There you go, DJ. That's how we do it, baby. Sissy generation fan. Yeah, United Sissies of America. I think so. Like I said, I'm from the sticks and stones may break my bones era. Now it's like, man, you can't even disagree with somebody. You can't. Listen, when I grew up, we'd be like, man, your mother's so black. I remember we used to call it Jonas. Some people call it the dozens, whatever. We would spend all day. I was one of the people that was good at it. So we would be out there for hours in our backyard, dying laughing. We'd be 20, 30 deep and people just joning on each other. I remember one time when they was like, and this probably won't be funny to y'all, but back in the 80s it was funny. When my man was like, man, your mother's so poor, she put a Big Mac on layaway. Man, if you don't know what layaway is when you put a little bit money down and you come back and you put a little bit more down. It's kind of what we do now when you do afterpay. You pay some of it now, some of it a couple of weeks, and you can have. So we was dying laughing. We grew up doing that. Now, man, you make fun of people, boy. It's don't get me wrong. I think there's a place for bullying being bad. But I remember when if you would have called, if bullying is what people do today, then you couldn't have grown up in the 80s, boy. You couldn't have grown up in my hood. You'd have got your head clipped. You'd have moved because you wouldn't have lasted. We ain't had no choice. I haven't done a super chat yet, but I still want to meet you in Christ. Same era referee. Yeah, 100%, bro. And don't get me wrong. When I mention super chats, I'm not that you're saying I'm doing this, but I'm not in any way trying to manipulate. I'm grateful. I'm really grateful for that because I understand that money is one of the most precious commodities that we have. And when someone is willing to give you a couple of dollars because they appreciate what you do, some people get used to it and they expect it. Hey, you want a super chat? You want to get? I don't even tell people like and subscribe to the channel often. You know why? Because although I want people to, I don't presume. Like, who am I that you should? So when super chats come in, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So that's why I bring that up. So if you don't, you don't. It's not like gonna hurt me, but when you do, it's humbling because I realize that's a couple dollars, man. That stuff matters. Some people get $50, $100. Some people don't. They'll do it. They hit you on Venmo or Cash App. That stuff matters, man. People don't. I really appreciate that, bro. That's crazy to me. Big facts. People need to breathe and let it go. 100%, bro. Let it go, man. We have fun and great fellowship here, fam. Thanks. Appreciate you, Jose. Man, Jose, one of them ones. He's always one of them ones. Always one of them ones that will throw a super chat in there. So, like, just that, like, Jose's one of them people I hope I get to meet this side of glory. Because same with Larry. Larry, too. You too, Marlon. DJ, man, I bang with y'all. Y'all be here all the time. Larry, facts. I stand guilty of this. I'm trying to check myself when I do. Appreciate that, bro. Caleb, you another one. You a real, all these people, man, real ones. Future, real one. Faith Fire, I ain't seen her in a bit, but she was coming. CC was, hey, Slim, that's a different video. That video's coming. I need to make that video before tomorrow night's game. I'm going to tie them together because tomorrow night they play Chicago Sky. Slim, let me just say this because you brought this up, Jose. The best moment, this is going to make somebody upset. I'm not trying to, but this is just, I'm going to be honest with you, right? So Dejanay Carrington, who is one of the stars of Connecticut Sun, she's actually Nalissa Smith's girlfriend who plays for the Indiana Fever. And it was a big deal because at one of the times they played them, they got into it with one of the players on the Fever. And instead of Nalissa Smith coming to her teammates' defense, she got in her teammates' face because, at the end of the day, that's the person she's with, the person she loves, so to speak, right? So Dejanay Carrington has been vocal about not liking Caitlin Clark, and at one point about a month ago, 2 months ago, talking about her names being used to denigrate the other stuff, but she needs to speak up about it, and black women, this and that. And she's one of the people that go on the rant of like black women and stuff like that, right? And this is gonna make some people mad, but this is the thing, like, you talking about she's basically, I'm a black woman don't get this, right? She's saying all that. The reality is, though, Dejanay Carrington has long blonde hair. Now, I could be wrong, but long blonde hair is not traditionally connected to the black community, right? Now, I ain't mocking her for having it. But when you talking about all this other stuff, it's like, you got long blonde hair. Long blonde hair is always something white women have had. Just because it's a style that Nicki Minaj and people do it. But so it's like why are you getting mad at that? Like, you're mimicking the hair. But anyway, people gonna get mad at that. But to me, that's the type of stuff I think about. Like, man. But what I loved was Caitlin Clark broke another record last night. She had 87 3-pointer, which broke the rookie record for threes in a season. She hit that joint on a step back against Dejanay Carrington. Coming down the court, right hand, dribbled out, threw that joint back behind her back, step back, three, boom, broke the record on Dejanay Carrington. Then Dejanay Carrington came down, smacked the three, boom, and then hit the crowd like this. And then right after that, Caitlin Clark comes down, goes right past her, boom, layup. Like it was, yeah, man, y'all don't want me to get on that joint. Coming from a dude that used to be charming, soft, not like in Christ-like tender-hearted way, but in a prideful way, thinking too highly of themselves. Yeah, I just think it's wild. Yeah, that stuff is wild, bro. Shama, yeah, we got you. CP, salute. He one of the real ones too. You see the tension between the two? Yeah. If you talk about Caitlin Clark and Dejanay, yeah, it was there. I see it. But I'm for it though, because I like that in sports. I like it. I like it in sports. But I think Dejanay Carrington called the Indiana Fever fans like nasty or something like that. It's like, this is what I don't understand. All right, so I'm not gonna forget it. She's got she doesn't have blonde hair for real. That's not her real hair. So it's like, what are you talking about? But like, here's the thing. If you're going to be Mrs. Black, here's the thing you got to realize. The WNBA is a league that, like, because of Caitlin Clark and people liking watching her play, people are saying this, including Indiana Fever fans. They're saying stuff like this. We started watching Caitlin, but now we're finding out about all these other players and we're loving it. So you finally got the other night, the first, this is key, the other night, the first non-Caitlin Clark sellout crowd game. It was, I forgot who it was. I forgot who the teams were. It was just the other night, maybe last night or the night before. The first non-Caitlin Clark sellout game, right? People say, see, it's not because of her, it's because of... No, what's happening is that because the WNBA is still relatively small, 12 teams, like they're a league that supports itself. Like fans are going to support. They're not at that place where like if you come to like I'm a Washington Commanders season ticket holder, right? You come to this state, you play a home game. Some teams have a bigger presence, so they can be like, oh, we're playing Dallas. Well, there's a lot of people that are Dallas fans in here too. So sometimes the cheers sound like we 50-50, and that's every place you go. But a lot of times it's going to be our fans because that's a sport. It's an established sport. It's there. The fans only want their team to win. But when you go to the WNBA, that's a small enough league where you might have 10,000 in the stadium, and there are people cheering for both teams. It's not a clear, oh, they're only cheering for their home team. Like, no, they're cheering. But because of the way Dejanay Carrington is acting with all this stuff, you're going to make people think that more black people feel and act like that. And you're going to all of a sudden create a tension that's unnecessary. Just look, you don't got to like Caitlin Clark. But now you're not popular enough to call out fan bases like that. You're not that important. You've been in the league for a while and nobody heard about you until this year, unless they were WNBA fans. You just, like, this is what I mean. You just got to chill, fam. Like this particular sporting league is getting bigger, but it's getting bigger with a degree of unity based upon people, because Caitlin Clark, who's the star of the league right now, she's not taking shots at nobody. So I just think Dejanay Carrington is just wilding. And it's just like, man, I just think she's not paying attention to what's happening. This league is growing and people will cheer for each other, but she's going to create a dynamic where she's going to be hated by stadiums and people, and then she's going to blame those people at Caitlin Clark instead of saying, no, these comments. Listen, this goes back to what I was saying earlier. When you say negative things about people, you forget one main thing at least, that these are real people. Like if someone comes on and criticizes me, like I have children that use YouTube. I remember one time me and this guy he was popular. We were going back and forth. I was doing it through my podcast. He is basically, we had a public back and forth. This was years ago. And he had his big YouTube channel was much bigger than mine. And he made some YouTubes with my name tagged in them, negative things. And then we actually sat and talked and resolved and worked through it. I told him one of the things, I was like, bruh, I have children. 2 of my teenage sons typed in Kirk Kennedy and they saw this video and I had to explain to them what was going on. Like when you say things about people, you may not know me in real life and see me as a content creator that you like or don't like, but I'm a real person. Like I have family and friends. I'm a pastor. I'm a Christian. I have a mom. I have people who might feel some type of way. Right? And I think we just forget that. This is why I said, man, don't compartmentalize your life. When you want to criticize somebody, just be careful. Because unless it's like something they said. If Candace Owens or somebody, Joe Biden, if you say something, then it's like, oh, I'm going to challenge what you said. But, or how you're, but like, we have to be careful because like, man, we don't know what gets back to these people. Even people who are like famous now because of social media, they can see your comment on Twitter and react to it and be hurt by it and be offended. And I'm not saying you shouldn't critique, but it's like, we just have to be careful. But anyway, it is what it is. I think the next CC going to dominate next year, especially if she got the rookie. So I think so too, bro. I think it's not even close. Caitlin Clark didn't back down. I loved it too, brother. All right. I got to get ready to do a meeting. Appreciate y'all. This was just This was just on my mind. I got a couple of topics I want to get at. One maybe tonight, but definitely probably 2 tomorrow. I'm not preaching on Sunday, so I had some time. All right, man. Appreciate y'all. Listen, don't compartmentalize. If you're going to be a comment creator, remember what you type is who you are. And God is not going to be like, oh, that was how you carry yourself is how you'll be evaluated in all spheres. All right? Grace and peace, y'all.